So if this discussion just quickly goes downhill and it's just me begging for another season of PEN15, will you hate me, or will you at least take pity on me and entertain the idea?
I would have usually any journaling is really sad. That would lead to a really great journaling experience at night. That'd make me really happy. And I'm always open to more PEN15. We just need, a break right now.
Well, I mean, you are working on a book. I mean, that's no small feat.
Trying. Yeah, my mom keeps saying, because it's a memoir, she keeps saying and during Penn, she's like, I need to move out of the galaxy. I'm gonna have to move out of this universe. I don't know where she's gonna go now, but for now she's being supportive. I'm just afraid when people read it, that's maybe not gonna be the case. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
I always envisioned that if I ever got like a sort of a background job on PEN15, I would play like a bad substitute teacher that you all made fun of. And like you pulled a prank on me or something. Maybe it's just some sort of psychosomatic thing going on there that I'm unaware of, but my name is Dewey. That does sound like a substitute teacher if you think about it.
Dewey's a very good name in general. I think I'm disappointed that we haven't had a character named Dewey. And I love the substitute. Yeah, we haven't done something with a substitute teacher, really.
I'm available. That's all I'm saying.
Wonderful.
I am available. Now,
okay.
Where does PEN15 come from? Let's just start from there.
The name or the concept?
Just the idea. Where did it come from?
It was sort of a lot of different, kind of the perfect storm of a lot of different places. One kind of branch, I guess, was Maya and I having made a web series, and we played a bunch of different wild characters that we thought were funny, and they all had in common sort of a rejectness to them. Every episode was a rejected reality show that would never be made, and they were submitting to get them made, whatever. And so, yeah, the characters were just really fun. And then it led us to going, what's the ultimate reject inside of us? What's the ultimate, person that we hide? And that ended up being a 13-year-old. So that was definitely part of it. And then I think the more we talked about it, it began a sort of more broad sketch-like idea. And then the more we talked about it, we began to realize that these stories, there wasn't really the proper appropriate conduit to tell what was really happening at 13. Because at the time on TV, at least, it was mostly like Disney Channel, it was 13-year-olds. And so, yeah, we were like, well, if we put ourselves in the center of the trauma, then we can tell whatever story we want. We don't have to apologize. And from that came realizing how much trauma was also there and going, well, we can tell those stories too. This can be funny and sad.
Are you trying to tell me that High School the Musical is an authentic representation of what goes on in high school? I mean, how dare you?
Right, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm just bursting everyone's repressed trauma, and it's all going to come up. I mean, I wish it was mine, certainly.
Just walking around high school, just burst into song, big number,
hook up with the hottest guy.
Absolutely. That's my dream, hooking up with the hottest guy, but my wife would disagree.
Okay, well.
But in terms of the character, developing your character for the show, when you're in that moment filming these episodes and you're doing, I just laugh. I mean, it's hard not to laugh because you just go so overboard. How do you go from 0 to 60 in terms of how you developed your characterization on the show?
I think I was just trying to remember sort of the origin of it. And I mean, it certainly helped being around other 13-year-olds, like I'm 13, 13-year-olds. There was this habit that I'd see of, and everyone would sort of have their own thing of, my character was always like fixing these two hairs that were here. as though that would sort of fix the overall appearance or what she wanted to look like. All of a sudden she'd become that, or fix the thing that was embarrassing her. And that was sort of, you know, taken from the kids on set, who everybody would have their thing, whether, you know, was if I can just get that one piece of hair down, or you pull down that side of my shirt over and over, or, you know, and I think we still do it as, I still do it as an adult, but I've learned how to, you know, have it be a little bit more invisible than it was at 13, which is what's so funny to me and sad. And for me, those things are hand in hand. Anything funny is also kind of sad.
I mean, I don't think I'm overstating things. This is one of the more important shows to come out in years, because it's an accurate reflection of what being in middle school is, and it's what these kids go through. And you guys don't pull any punches. I mean, when kids come up to you, or you're approached by a parent, and they tell you this, that it's impacted them in some way, shape, or form, is that hard to take, or are you, is that the desired effect?
That was the ideal, you know. Did I think that's what was going to happen? No. I think for me, I, you know, didn't know that writing was in my future, and I knew that I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't think writing was there. And in my home, it being sort of crazy and chaotic, but it being sort of a secret, I felt like so many people in my community, like people didn't discuss, you know, what was dysfunctional, you know what I mean? And as a result, I felt really alone in that. And then I started reading memoirs, and David Sedaris, for example. I also love Amy Sedaris. Oh my God, what a genius. But he, you know, reading his memoir, that was devastating and the funniest thing I had read, and left me feeling not alone. And I'm like, okay, and this person's okay. I mean, he published this book, he's okay enough, you know? And so I think that that's, once I started writing, that became like an easy mission statement for myself of, I want to write about my secrets, my shame, and, you know, at the end of the day, maybe one thing, even if it's tiny, someone will relate to, and maybe they'll feel a little bit less alone. And with PEN15, we got to do that on such a mega basis, I guess, of just like every episode, the goal was talking about something that we had like we held shame about, you know. But it was, so that was the best result we could possibly have, is people saying this impacted me, you know.
I imagine it has to be unnerving when you're willing to just release that shame into the audience and talk about it. It's the ultimate challenge as a writer, and it's also, as a performer, it's got to really be tough to process, let alone pull out like you guys do in the show.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think a good, to say mission statement again, was, we're getting this opportunity to play two 13-year-old girls who are the leads of this show, played by 30-something-year-old women who was wearing very little makeup and contorting our bodies to be even more wild than they already are. You know, when does that get to happen in Hollywood, in our industry? So how, and who knows how many episodes we'll be allowed to make as the years go by. So how do we use this for everything, you know, that it's worth? And so the more we started to talk about this age, the more that, you know, and talk about this age in a way of actively denying or trying to push against the tropes of coming of age stories, I guess. How do we tell an honest story where, you know, there are a lot of accurate tropes, but why, if we only get, you know, 10 episodes, what do we do? How do we honor that? You know, what do we do that's different? So that really led to slowing down, kind of looking at the minutia of moments that were under talked about. A kind of surface, but, you know, decent example is the AIM episode. And knowing that at 13 years old, being on AIM, being on AIM, however you said it, felt like this world of like amazingly high stakes. And, you know, I could watch my best friend for 4 hours talk to random people. And the challenge being on screen, can we replicate that world? Is there enough, like, if, and the thesis being, if the high stakes could be there in your real life, then certainly we should be able to replicate this, you know. But it meant sort of like getting down to the minutia of every moment. Why, when I hear the door open sound, you know, does it make my stomach flip over? Or, and so that's sort of how I think we approached everything of, you know, this moment is not something anyone talks about. Why do I still think about it? Now let's, you know, make that thing the whole episode or something. If that makes sense.
Your AIM episode spoke my language, because I can remember hearing that ping the first time, and then the guy going, "Welcome, you got mail."
Right.
You know, that was like everything. Now, my secret shame is that to this day, I still have an AOL email address
that you predominantly use.
I feel like this is going down a hill real quick, so I'm just gonna hold my head in shame and let you interpret that.
I mean, come on, actually I have to say,
go ahead.
You're not alone. And I don't know if it's this generation or what that loves irony, but there's something highbrow. I think that's become highbrow.
I don't know if it's highbrow or I just don't want to move on or something. In my case, and my wife often tells me, "Do you also have a GeoCities account as well, or Prodigy or something, or how's your MySpace going?" So she has a lot of fun in that. But it's those little things that you guys focus on in the show that you guys explore with such fine detail that make the show what it is. Now, what was the hardest episode for you guys to put together? I know, tough one, sorry.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of them.
Just pick one.
I think, I mean, the Wiccan episode was definitely one of them. I wrote that one, and it took a lot in post and even on the day of shooting to get it to a place that felt just true to the story that we were trying to tell, because it just runs the gamut tonally from really sort of devastating to, and you don't want that to be heavy-handed, to absolutely insane when we're in the greenhouse doing spells, to sort of getting to mental health and Anna saying she wants to disappear and Maya being there for her. Like, it just goes everywhere. And for me to feel truthful to my own mental health journey, to my parents fighting, to these things that I felt like introduced themselves around this age that I hadn't necessarily seen a lot of examples of in the media. And again, that made me feel sort of alone, and I was the only one going through it. And so it was a cathartic experience, but watching it back so many times, I was like, this is either too crazy or too sad or something. Like, it felt just heavy-handed. And so, yeah, in post, and Ty Erskine was an amazing editor on that, and Sam directed it, and just the finishing on it took a really long time to sort of get it to a place that felt honest and funny and sad, but not too any of the above.
I know in the midst of, you've got a child, you're writing this book, but you have to have a moment where you reflect on possibly your favorite moment from the series that you really thought y'all nailed it. I mean, there's a lot of great moments, but is there one in particular that stands out to you?
I mean, I'm really proud of the last 2 episodes of let's say the middle season, the theater episodes. I think those, are just unique tonally to the series, and have a lot of, you know, truly have our three minds together, I think, in those. And even though, I mean, it's the amazing writing of Maya and Sam, and he's directing them, and I don't know, something about those just felt like a movie or something, aside from the rest of the season, that yeah, I'm just proud of. And I think the other moment is actually the series finale, where it's crazy. You know, we go through a lot. We have our new boyfriends. Maya gives her first blowjob. I break up with my boyfriend. There's like, it's very, to me, it's very funny, but it's also playing with serious ideas of like violation and consent. And then they squid the ex-boyfriend's house, and they're coming back together with their original group of guy friends. And then eventually Anna and Maya end up back at Anna's house, like they did in the beginning of the series, talking about, you know, having this simple sort of fantasy of their future of, we're going to live in clouds together, and I'm going to take you to the doctors every day. And, you know, the things that as an adult, you know, cannot happen. And I'm really proud of that scene, because it's hard for me to watch every time. Because I wish that was possible with my friends still, you know. And yeah, I think just the trajectory of that episode, I am really proud of.
And I think the level of authenticity in that finale really is off the charts, and really is a reflection of the cast, the crew, the writing. And I know you like to give credit to others, as you have during this discussion. But some might say that you're a great writer as well. In fact, what I did is I put it out there on the social media that I'd be speaking to you, and I got a question from somebody who's in theater at the University of Central Florida. She's her name is Audrey, and she's kind of struggling with getting into the writing process, and she's wondering if you had any advice for her, being that she looks up to what you've done, and obviously you've accomplished a lot. You can't deny that, Anna.
Thank you. That's really kind. I mean, in starting to write new things, I think that feeling of, you know, that begins in the beginning of your career, or the beginning of your, you know, just your craft, of like, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I can relate to the feeling I all the time still feel, and know my other artist friends that have done a lot feel like a fraud, or, you know, it's writing is this elusive thing that can feel like you're picking up sand and the idea is just pouring through your hand, you know, and so much of life can feel like that, I think, but writing can feel very invisible and difficult to pin down sometimes. So I would say that that's a normal feeling. And, you know, for me, there's a few components whenever I'm feeling sort of blocked or scared or whatever. I try to write without editing. I try to just get it down and have a certain amount of pages every day that I write. And I edit a few days later or a week later when I have enough down to really assess. But if I continue to critique myself while I'm writing, I won't. If one sentence in there is, I discover works, that day was worth it. Those 4 pages, those 10 pages, whatever. So it's not wasted work. I think another thing is, you know, even as hard as it is, because we all need and want a job, is to try to get out of your head of what other people are going to want or what's going to sell or whatever, and try to give yourself space to connect to, you know, stories that are within yourself that maybe you feel. I think that the trove of content is there in stories that we're too embarrassed to tell, or where we think no one else has gone through it before. And you're gonna, if you kind of go there, there's gonna be somebody else, at least someone, and probably a lot more that say I have that experience too. And to me, that's the most powerful writing that you can do. And I think the last thing is that anything can be funny if the characters are are funny. It doesn't have to be jokes or a funny situation.
I think we need to do more collectively to uplift female voices, period. And I think a big part of that are having these examples like your show and what you've done, your success that gives female voices hope, that there is a place out there for them, that they don't be fearless. I mean, if there's anything that we've learned watching PEN15, you are fucking fearless. I mean, pardon my language, and that's what makes the show so charming, and what I feel like I can't say enough about what you've done. The show is brilliant, your performance is brilliant, and your writing is impeccable. But I'm sure you've heard that once or twice.
Thank you. I almost cried a little bit. So for whatever reason, I need to hear it. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Yeah, and I agree with you. There's a lot more stories for us as women and just us as a society to still tell. There's still so much shame, which means there's still a lot of secret stories out there. There forever will be, unfortunately.
Well, this was indeed an honor for me to speak to you, and I love the fact that we can do all we can to elevate your status in this award season nonsense that they put us through. And I'll cut that part out. Don't worry.
You don't need. I'm like, yes. Thank you so much. Honestly, I really, I really, really appreciate it. And I really have enjoyed talking to you.
I've enjoyed talking to you. You're great. And I'm going to go tell my wife that I made a slip up about a hot guy during this interview.
Please talk to her about it. Please.
Oh, yeah. I will talk to her and about my AOL email. I promise.
Okay, perfect. And tell her I said hi. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.